lights go dim, it's time to find out what's within. Behind the camera, there's so much more. With AndyGames, let's explore. Behind the camera with AndyGames, meet the streamers, learn their names. Off the screen, who are they? Tune in now, don't delay.
Hello everybody, and welcome to Behind the Camera with AndyGames. This is the podcast where I interview people from the world of content creation and beyond with the sole purpose of getting to know the person a little bit better behind the camera. In this episode, I sat down with AverageGirlGames, a variety streamer with a theme focused on retro arcade gaming. We discussed her journey and growth as a streamer, how this has led her to multiple projects outside of streaming, her venture into cosplaying and development within this, and much, much more. Here is the interview. Rissa, thank you so much for taking the time to join me on Behind the Camera today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking.
No, of course. So, it's just the premise of this, just sort of basically just an informal chat, just to get to know you a little bit better, just as a streamer and a person, and just kind of the two things kind of combined, all things like that. So, take us back to the beginning, with your gaming journey. Have you always been a gamer? And also, what led you into streaming as a result?
Yeah, no, so I've got my very first pocket Game Boy from my grandpa, and it was this green little pocket Game Boy, and I had the game Frogger on it. And that is a core memory for me because that started all my obsession with getting all the Pokemon games and then getting a Nintendo, like the Game Boy Advanced and then
Yep.
the Nintendo DS and just like a whole bunch of other things that then led me into a bigger gaming world with like a PC, PS5, PS4, things like that, Xbox. Like I feel like I played on kind of every system, GameCube, Nintendo 64, everything. Which has been really, really nice. It's been cool to kind of be able to be a part of gaming getting more advanced, which I love. And that was just like really like it's just been cool to grow up with video games and to see how they're evolving. And then with streaming, I actually started streaming because I wanted to do a St. Jude fundraiser. And I was like, I play video games. I have a couple of friends that will watch me. Like, I bet you I could earn like $100 for St. Jude. And that's really cool because I work in healthcare. So I was like, I get to combine two things that I love. And I started streaming on my PS5 with like my little tiny PS5 camera and like my headset mic, and I reached my goal and it was amazing. And suddenly I started to be like, I really feel like this is a stress relief for me. I go to work and then I come home and I stream and I just get to laugh and enjoy myself. And I'm like, this is really, really cool. And I just really have now used that as something that gives me a creative outlet when I really need it. And I've loved it and fell in love with it ever since.
Incredible. So, how long have you been streaming then, like based on that? Obviously you mentioned you started on your PS5, for example. So has it been it couldn't have been too long, but obviously sort of semi-recent?
Yeah, so it's been about, I would say, 2 years
Okay.
ish. I think I'm coming up on 3.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just such an incredible thing how it kind of starts for some people. And I do love asking people how they got into, because a lot of it is for different reasons. So obviously yours is probably the most unique answer I've had to date, where it's been a charity stream. It's like, well, I could do this because it's based on a hobby that you exist in, that you had already, and look what it's turned into. It's just pretty incredible.
Crazy.
So how then did you go from the transition from growing up almost exclusively on Nintendo with all your handheld games, and then going forward to then being a PC streamer?
Hilariously enough, it's when I met Miles. So I had an Xbox, and I never played online games, but I had my Xbox Connect that I would do Just Dance, or I'd play Dante's Inferno. And Miles was like, "Have you ever played a game called Overwatch?" And I said, "I've never heard of that game. I don't know what that is." And he would play it a little bit, and then I would watch, and I'm like, "Okay, well, I want to try now." And so I started playing it, and I quickly became truly addicted to this game. I wanted to get better. I played competitively. And it was, I'm pretty sure, my very first online game. And I was like, this is really, really fun. And I soon realized that if I wanted to, not lag or be able to play on multiple different platforms or multiple different games, that wasn't just, I had to have PS5 for one game and an
Yeah.
Xbox for another. I could do that, meet in the middle and do PC. And Miles already had kind of built out a gaming PC, and I just was kind of flirty and asked if maybe one day he could make one for me, and, I was able to earn it. So my PC is all community built, like, I earned money, to be able to build my very first PC, and I did it on stream, and it was so fun, and
Right.
yeah, now I understand PC stuff, which is really cool. Well, to a degree. I still
Yeah.
have Miles as my IT guy, but yeah, it's been crazy.
Yeah, of course. And it's quite interesting how, as well, with that, you have like that kind of journey where you start on your PS5, you go into like uh gaming on PC just because it allows you to integrate different games from different platforms
Mm.
into one. But all of a sudden, you now know about all of this different, the tech behind it and everything. And obviously, of course, having Miles probably a big help to that, as you say, of
So
course.
helpful.
Yeah, it's amazing. So then talking about the development then of your stream, the theme behind, your streams is like a sort of retro arcade, which is like such like a
Mhm.
warm and welcoming theme. Like, so what can you tell us about the idea behind this and how this kind of came to be like the sole theme, or the main theme I should say, of your channel?
Yeah. I, grew up near a Nickelcade. I don't know if those, like, ever existed where you are, or even outside of where I lived, but it was just nickels. So you
Mm-hmm.
would just go to the Nickelcade and just play a whole bunch of games and spend hours and hours and hours and just play every kind of video game, arcade cabinet game,
Brilliant.
shooter game, crane game, whatever, and it was just a time that I remember in my life that was so carefree for me because the only thing that mattered was, like, a high score, and I was like, "Oh, how fun." Like, I don't have to worry about anything else. I just have to, like, play this game and try to get a high score, or, like, me and my friends would go back and forth. So, like, I would do a run, and then she would do a run, and then we would just, like, swap back and forth all
Mm-hmm.
the time, and it was just so great, and that's to me, because I grew up in the '90s and early 2000s, like, that is just so nostalgic for me,
Yeah.
and with nostalgia, I feel like comes the simplicity of I focus on one thing. And that one thing is just having fun and being with the people around me. And that's it. I don't think about outside things. And especially now where I work full time at a hospital and I'm just bought a house and like with that stress and how to fix things in a home. And I keep going back to just this having this '90s nostalgia of remembering playing games, being around friends, and just having it be so much simpler life than it is right now. And
Yeah.
so that's kind of what I wanted to integrate into my channel was to be like, if you did grow up in the '90s, which is fine if you didn't, because you still kind of get the nostalgia, because
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen like, what is this? How do we use that? It's a floppy disk. Like it's fine. It's not a big deal. Like things like that that everyone kind of laughs about. But it just brings out, I feel like relaxation and just like simple. And that's just what I wanted to represent in my channel is just to have simplicity. And it's nothing more than what it is. It's not complicated. It's just friends hanging out, having a good time, making jokes, and just enjoying the simple things.
Yeah, of course. And I think that's like important, sort of that underlying notion to have as a streamer with a sort of a flourishing community, because um people want to sort of feel at home
Mhm.
in somebody's community. They want to feel that it's a safe space. They want to feel like they're hanging out with friends, because at the end of the day you do have a group of like-minded people from all walks of life all over the world, if you're lucky enough, of course, to, and then they're just all congregating in this one place with like just similar interests, and it's like an incredible way of bringing people together. And like you say, it can take you back to that time. And we never had nickelcades back like, in the UK, at least not to my memory. But um I think retro arcades are kind of making a comeback. I think, like, particularly like where I
They
live,
are.
like
Yes.
I like like in Belfast, like near where I live, like it's our capital
Mhm.
city here, like every so often they'll have these little pop-up arcades that they'll have in like sort of art centers, and they'll bring all these retro machines, and you pay like maybe the equivalent of about $20 for a ticket,
Mhm.
and you can go and unlimited access all day to these arcade machines and all these like retro things. And there's a chain of bars across the UK as well called NQ64, and it's like retro gamers paradise. Like, oh my god, like it's a free in
That's
bar,
awesome.
and or you go up to the bar, you get your drinks and everything. We order these like little tokens. They have these like specially made coins, like that has the branding of the bar, and you use them for the machines. But you have
Okay.
everything, like you're talking like 80s and 90s arcade machines, and then you've got actual
Yes.
consoles, and then they have like a few like recent things. So they have like a Guitar Hero machine, and
Mhm.
a few like racers and stuff from more sort of contemporary gaming. But it gives that same feeling like you described, where it's just like that whole, it brings you back to a time like where you're so carefree and just like doing things that you don't have to worry about, like you say, like full-time work, balancing that with like buying a house and all these kinds of like real life grown-up
Just
situations.
life.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
because it's kind of funny because like you get to like this age, like whether you're like late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s, whatever it may be, and it's like, where did all this time actually go? Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy. Life, like the saying, life comes at you fast. You don't really think too much of it until you're sort of in that position where you feel it, you know?
Yep. And you always think like, "Oh, I'm never gonna get old, like, that's never gonna happen to me," where everyone's like, "Oh, my joints or my back." And now I'm like, "I'm soaking my back every night because it hurts," like, that's now my life, and it's just so funny to be like, I never thought that would be me. I'm like, "I'm never gonna get old, like, I'm gonna be so young and agile forever," and now I'm like, I can't stay past up 11 because then I'm exhausted the next day. It's just so
Oh,
funny.
same. I absolutely feel that, to be honest. But it's interesting as well because like the whole notion of nostalgia and sort of being in like one of these like old arcades and stuff. Because do you ever find when you play like an old video game, you even for like a split second, you're like transported back to the 90s, early 2000s, but you have like that
Yes.
same kind of feeling as if you are back there, and it is so fleeting. Like you only feel it for a split second, but you almost have to like
Mhm.
catch yourself on. It's like, I don't know. It's I had that actually like quite recently. It's like such a strange sort of thing. What would be your game
Yeah.
for that?
Um, Honestly, I have 2 games that really bring me back to it, like, my childhood, and one of them is Sims,
Mm.
and that's just because I had my one of my best friends, she had a PC, and she would play Sims, and so we would every night we would have, like, a sleepover, we would play Sims until the wee hours of the morning. And it was just so fun. We would just decorate our character, our house. Like, we wouldn't even do any of the jobs or, like, the achievements in Sims. We would just make our characters and then, like, flirt with boys that we also made. Like, just stupid fun stuff. But that was always something that I'm like, "Oh, man, that brings me back." And then Kirby Air Ride is another
Oh
game
yes.
that I am just like that game brings me back because I would also, like, play that with my friends, and we would have competitions, or we would, like, just play it like, and it's the same thing almost over and over and over again, but we would play that for hours and just not have any cares in the world of what's going on besides like, "Oh, wait, we haven't eaten yet, and it's been, like, 7 hours." It's just been like that those 2 games are just, oh, they just hit me. They yeah, exactly what you said, where it's like you go back and it's just this moment where you're like,
Hmm.
"Whoa." It's kinda like when you smell something that you remember from your childhood and you're like, "What is that smell?" And
Yes.
you just can't place it and you're like, "What is that?"
But it
It's the
it
exact same
was
feeling.
that memorable that it just sticks in you. It's like embedded in your head. So
Mhm.
when you say The Sims, there, like, do you mean OG Sims 1 or like one of the later
Oh,
ones after that?
oh, it was very much like the very, like, first
Yeah.
ever, I think, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, Sims is like such a good game, right? But
So
have
good.
you seen it like now? Like how crazy it is now?
Yes, I watch another streamer, and every once in a while when I pop into her chat, the amount of customization now
Yeah.
is eerie. She's like, "Oh, I'm making me." And I'm like, "That looks just like you." Like, it's like looking into a mirror.
Mm.
Insane. And also, like, graphic-wise, also very smooth.
Yeah.
So, like, it looks very real.
Like
They're doing whatever they're doing it right.
100%. And because I've seen a few Sims streamers as well. Like on, I know Sims 4 has been the big one for the longest time because it's one of the
Mhm.
things I don't think they need to like make another one. They can just add on to this same one. But
Yeah.
like the people building like full towns at this point in cities, and it's like
Yes.
the amount
And it's
of
all
time.
automated, and
Yeah.
they're, like, making it's insane. I
Yeah.
would get lost in that game forever.
Oh, same. Like, I mean, I think like the bulk of my experience with The Sims is Sims 2 and Sims busting out. Like
Yep.
Sims busting out, like obviously it brought the sort of multiple location and the story in the story
Mhm.
mode. Like I think I maybe got like about 4 hours at a time, and I'm thinking this is great. I'm going to come back to this, do more of this, because it is such an immersive game. And then obviously X number of months later, I'm like starting a new file because it's just like, well, I can't remember where I'm at. Like, but
Yep. Yep. Mhm.
I
Exactly.
know, like, but yeah, like it's one of them things. Like with there is that nostalgia behind it.
Mhm.
So I always played it on the GameCube, and
Yes.
yeah, the GameCube slept on
The
console,
best.
slept on console. I think, like, I thought it was
Honestly.
brilliant.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the smaller discs, right?
Hmm.
Interesting. Always had, like, a different disc, which I thought was really cool. I think it wasn't the 2nd Super Smash game was on the GameCube,
It was, yep,
and that was crazy because then they had, like, way more characters come
yeah,
in, and, like, the game oh, it was just so good. Like,
yeah.
oh,
I know.
fantastic.
Funny. I actually never got that one until relatively recently. Like literally, like the last few years. Like
What?
I'd played it before, but I don't know why I never had it on GameCube until like the last couple of
Oh,
years. And
so good.
yeah, I look back and think like such a wasted sort of like time that I didn't have it. But then
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever heard of there's a program called Slippy, and this is
Mm-mm.
where people play competitive Smash. Like, and it's the GameCube version.
Oh.
Yeah, it is, but
Oh,
it's a
okay, I'm gonna
it.
have to check that out.
Oh, for honestly, like I think it's like this sort of. I could be wrong in saying this, like, but I think it's like the original kind of competitive Smash, like sort of platform.
Yes.
And but I swear to God, it's like these people are they're the real deal. Like,
I mean, they're take that's it, that's their job, they take it seriously.
100%. And
Very cool.
but even the better thing about the about Slippy is it's like really sort of like I think you can probably play anybody across the entire world, and you will still have a relatively good connection if you're obviously if your internet connection's strong enough. Like it's you
That's
know
cool.
yeah, like I
That's
give it a
fun.
go, and there really wasn't a lot of input delay. Like I'm not
Wow.
the worst at that game, but
Yeah.
when you're playing against somebody who's got like like 300,000 hours or whatever it may be.
Yeah, exactly. They have a whole server dedicated to just that.
Basically,
100%.
yeah. But no, definitely check that out. Like if you're of
Okay.
course, yeah, Slippy, so it's Slippi.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the avatar for it is Slippy from Star Fox. So you'll be able to know.
Cute. Yeah. That's awesome.
Very divisive character, Slippy.
Oh,
Genuinely.
I'm
Like
telling you. Star Fox was also such a fantastic game. Like, just I think a little like above its time almost because it was like it was stars. There was like the multiple characters. The
mhm.
barrel roll has been like just a classic thing. Like it's just
Yes.
crazy.
Funny thing about Star Fox as well, I think the leap between Star Fox 2 to Star Fox 64, it's
Hmm.
I don't think I've seen that in another game ever since. You've
Yeah.
gone from
Oh,
basically
fair.
like an 8-bit game
Hmm.
to Star Fox 64, which is like,
To a full, yeah,
yeah, full blown.
insane.
It's incredible game. There's actually as well like a PC port for that now. which only came out there just
Really?
before Christmas. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Starship, it's called. It,
okay. Well, I got more games to check out. I'm excited. This is perfect.
let's go. Love to hear that. Yeah, because the thing is, the good thing about it though, because like these sorts of retro games are like they're like a part of our past, and it's a good way to sort of like just keep it alive. Like just always being a sort of method of playing them. Like don't necessarily always have to
Hmm.
be on console, but if you can play it on your PC and it be be as good as it was on console, even better.
Oh yeah,
Especially because the for Starship on PC, it's literally like it's been all fine tuned and rendered and runs at 60 frames per second. It's the
that's so
cleanest
cool.
thing I think I've seen. It's the cleanest port I've ever
That's
seen.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I'm gonna check it out.
100%. No, definitely.
Yeah. Oh
Absolutely.
yeah.
So let's step outside of streaming just for a second. It's still kind of relevant, but not quite to do with your stream. But recently, you sort of undertaken a few other ventures in terms of your cosplaying. And
Yes.
I know you told me about your involvement in a Phasmophobia short film at one point as well in the
Hmm.
last sort of couple of months. So are these things that have kind of come up as a result of streaming, or is this just like sort of are these things like part of like your sort of hobbies on the side, or what can you tell us about these things?
Yeah. Cosplay has always been something that I've been interested in, but have never had the confidence to pursue. And that's mostly because I am just a horrible seamstress. I don't know how to do a pattern. I I'm still to this day amazed at what people can do when they're like, "Oh yeah, here's the solution that this for this." And I'm like, would have never have thought of how did you know how to do that? Or like, how did you know how to use this material? Like, it's just so incredibly interesting. And my good friend Nissa, she's the one who has gotten me into cosplay, or has at least given me the confidence
Yeah.
to be able to do this. And she has been such a great teacher. I first cosplayed Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn, and that was for my very first build was incredibly hard because it was actual real leather from a leather couch that I was sewing in.
Oh wow.
And I was like, I feel like this is way harder. Like, why is this so hard to push a needle through this leather? And she's like, well, that's just like the material. And I'm like, how, what do you mean? And she just helped me through understanding what needles need to go with what material, and then also like how to fake some things. So like Aloy has sinew that she uses to sew everything. Well, of course, we're not going to get like real sinew,
Yeah.
but there's fake sinew made out of like polyester or some material that you just sew and it looks exactly like that. And I'm like, this is incredible. Like I would never have thought of that. And now I'm doing Dagger from Marvel Rivals as well
Oh,
as
very nice.
Gemma from Monster Hunter Wilds. So we're doing a lot more, which is fine because I'm learning a lot more techniques. And I learned how to dye recently, like dye fabric. That was really cool. And I recently learned how to make a pattern for a pant leg, which I also didn't know how to do. Like it's been really cool. And that just came from, we have a big Fan X is what it's called. We have a big anime and comic convention that happens where I live, and it's huge. And I always saw people dress up in these beautiful elaborate cosplays, and I was like, "Oh, if only I could sew and learn how to do that, like I would totally do that." And now that I have the confidence in it, it's just been so fun and so great. And then with the short films, Schwendy, who is my really good friend, as well as one of my mods, as well as a editor for some things on my stream. He has always done films and has always invited me, which has been super kind and nice of him. I love acting. I think it's just there is something about making people laugh and having comedic timing that just gives me motivation and inspiration to like be funnier and be
Yeah.
wittier and learn more improv. And it's just been cool to be able to apply that to now video games and say, "Hey, I just played this video game. Let's do a little short, um, little short video or a short film in regards to this video game and just put it out there for fans and for people who also love this video game just to be like, "Oh, that was funny. Like I liked that they did this. Haha. I remember doing that in the game. That's so silly." And once the Phasmophobia film comes out, I think there's going to be some things that a lot of people who play Phasmophobia religiously will be like, "That's funny. Like I'm glad that they did that or included that." And so it's been really fun to just create these scripts based off of films. I wanna do one for the Uncharted series
That'll be
because
good.
that was I was so anti-Uncharted. I was like, "I don't wanna play it. The controls are hard. It's older. Like, I can't figure it out." And Miles was just like, "No, you have to play these games." Like, I encourages me just to, like, just keep going past. I know you couldn't get past that point. I'll help you get past it. Let's just, like, continue the story. And now it is after playing, I think, all 4 of them, which included that DLC, I'm shocked at how good the story was, and I'm like, "I would love to do a short film for this. That would be so fun." So,
Brilliant.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just been cool.
That's awesome. I think it's kind of it's good to kind of have that imagination and creativity to like
Mhm.
look at a sort of video game and think I could do this. This could be kind of cool, and like everything we just talked about for the last couple of minutes, it all kind of ties into that, like with the cosplaying aspect of it, because obviously character design is a very specific thing, and then you kind of playing into that, and then just sort of putting your own spin on things. And you made a good point there about wanting to sort of be entertaining and have that kind of like comedic timing and make people laugh. And as a streamer, that's like quite an important thing too, like because uh, obviously depending on how many people you have like in your chat at one point, so many people are there for like different reasons, whether it's there
Mhm.
the people are there to watch a game, or people are there for you personally, or there to be entertained by any means. So it's like
Yeah.
there's a lot of kind of a lot of gaps to fill almost, I think, really. As a streamer, you kind of just have to kind of do what you can to make everybody happy. But no, that's incredible. So when can we expect the Phasmophobia short film to drop?
Ooh, good question. So, Schwendy, who's the editor, as well as the like director, he also acts in it. He's just great. He wears a lot of hats. He is getting the sound finalized. Because I guess there's a couple of songs and then obviously sounds and framing that he just specifically wants in it. And then once that is finished, there's going to be a week lead up with like little teasers that's kind
Oh,
of like,
okay.
here's a poster, here's a back scene, like behind the scenes little peek at something we did. Here's like a prop that we had. And then we'll drop the film like on the like last day of that
Yeah.
week. So yeah,
Okay.
just to kind of like build up some suspense for it because it's really it's just fun. Like it was fun to make. I think it's like really spooky. So yeah, it's gonna be cool.
No, that's good. I'm looking forward to that. So I play Phas with my mods every so often, and but like
Yeah.
they play it religious, like they play it
Yep.
every night. And like
Hmm.
there's a couple of them that are like 3 times prestiged in it, and I'm kind of just like sitting on like level 30, just like, hey guys, I'm the comic relief of the team here. But which there always is, of course. If you play,
There
just let me know.
has to be one guy in the van, right?
Oh, I'm not even. I
And
mean,
that's me.
the van princess.
Yes. I say, "I got the car. When we're ready to go, I will start it. You just tell me when."
I'm I'm the always go for the cursed item guy. That's me.
Yep,
That's me.
fair.
It's
That's fair.
just it's just funny.
It's I know, the monkey paw, and you're like,
Oh.
that's so crazy. What's happened? I don't know. Wow. That's so odd."
I'm personally a fan of the Ouija board because
Oh, yes.
the Ouija board is the best one, because like I think it's the one that can be the most helpful, but at the same time you can also use it for completely
Oh, yeah.
horrible reasons. My favorite thing to do is to find out where the ghost is, based
Mhm.
on the Ouija board. The Ouija board will tell you, and then I will, if I'm by myself, if I'm lucky enough that everybody has gone over to the location and I've been left, I will go over
Mhm.
to the front door of the house, and I will say, "Let's play hide and seek." And then throw the Ouija board down, watch the countdown, and I will just get the hell out of there and shut the door. That is like my favorite thing to do in Faz, and it's probably a reason why my mods don't really play with me that much anymore.
They're like, you know what? We're tired, actually. That's our last one. I know we've only played one, but you know what? We're just a little
Listen, they
tired.
knew what
Bye.
they knew what they got themselves in for, of course, you know.
You're like, listen, it comes with the territory. You should have known.
Exactly. There's always one in every group. Like that's the way I look at it. There's
There has to
always
be.
one. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
of course the times I do try to take it seriously is when they all go for the cursed item and I end up on my
Dead
ass
first.
because yeah, absolutely. Every
Yep.
time. And
Yep.
even though when I use the cursed item, I'm the one who ends up dead first. And then they use it. So
Yeah.
maybe
And
it's
they're
like some
fine.
kind of
And they're
karma.
great.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
It might be
It's the
karma, but it
universe.
might be, I don't know, you know?
Oh, that's so funny. No,
Yeah.
that's real.
So to go back to your cosplaying and like your, obviously this has kind of taught you a little bit about sort of being a seamstress and making your own. In terms of the process for that, do you find that in any way therapeutic and just like exciting, or is it kind of like stressful in a way because there is that level of precision that you have to have in terms of getting these characters outfits plus also having them sort of to fit your own size as well? Like is there a sort of
Hmm.
a fine line between that, or is it just generally a kind of nice process to go through?
It's definitely stressful. Um, but there is this feeling of achievement when I do
Yeah.
get something right that I kind of like crave because I'm like, if I can find a color that matches a jacket or a piece of the jacket that I need to make, and I perfectly color match it, I am like, I'm amazing. Like, I look at me. I know colors. Like, it's just like this big, amazing feeling. And even when I just like kind of make like a solution to a problem. So we couldn't find for Dagger, she has this really pretty, like almost open, like a cat eye shape on the front of one of her outfits.
Yeah.
And it's this lime sagey green. And I'm like, where am I going to find a lime sagey green that I can cut up, that's ribbed, that can stretch with the stretchy fabric that I already have? And we found this skirt that was like a heathered cream. And Nissa was like, well, we'll just dye it. And I'm like, we're going to dye it? Like, what do you like with just with clothes dye? She's like, yeah, we'll just dye it, get it to a certain color that we want, and then we'll take it out and wash it. And I was like, okay. Um, and so we dyed it and we washed it and brought it out. And it is this color match is so perfect that I was like, this is it. I'm like, where this is what? And it's just like it just feels this accomplishment where you're like, yeah, and then it motivates you to get more and more pieces that continue to work. And that's just where I've really felt as much as it's stressful to try to figure out and have the problem, the payoff of solving the problem is just fantastic.
Yeah.
And then I feel more creative because I'm like, I made this skirt that's
Yeah.
going to be part of a shirt. Like that's cool. Um, and that's been really, really fun and like really rewarding throughout the process.
Yeah, of course, because it is such like well, it's a creative process because before kind of go further with that, what's the sort of ratio of like you having like a sheet of fabric versus using like old clothes, for example, to sort of put splice together? What would like the sort of ratio between the two be?
I would say it's more thrifting, less
Yeah.
buying just plain fabric. And that's because if I can thrift something, then the work's already done for me and I can just I manipulate it the way that I need it to
Yeah.
be. Versus getting fabric, I have to figure out a pattern and figure out how that's going to fit me. And if it's curved, how do I sew it if it's curved? And like things like that. That's been a little more of like an advanced thing
Yeah.
or advanced technique. And so right now, at least where I am, I'm mainly thrifting and repurposing things because it's just easier for me. but down the road, should I be able to figure out how, like, a sewing machine works, because I have literally no idea, if I ever figure that out, I might be like, "Oh, okay, I understand now if I buy this fabric because it matches what I need, I can make like, some gloves, or I can make a part of a pant leg or a jacket." So, in this process, I'm a thrifter.
No, of course, because only reason I ask is that's something that I've grown up. I've pretty much grown up with my entire life. Like, not me, but like my mum is a seamstress. That's her hobby. She is like absolutely a whiz with a sewing
Wow.
machine. And it's something that in the last few years my wife's picked up as well. And it's like, so it's something that I've like
Hey!
constantly been surrounded by. But like,
Yeah.
they have always been all just like buying fabric and stuff and kind of going through
Mhm,
like the patterns and stuff. But like, there still is quite like a long and specific process as well. Like, I haven't really ever seen anything like be thrifted apart from one
mhm.
thing where for a Halloween costume when I was 13 and I dressed up as Super
Mhm.
Mario, my mom basically cut off basically she made essentially like sort of turned jeans into short shorts and then kind of cut around to make like the top of overalls and I just wore them
Yes!
overlapping a
Yeah!
pair of jeans. So like that's kind of the most
That's awesome.
exposed to like sort of thrifting that I've been. But what it was to go back to the original point, like if you're a thrift and you only have so much to work with, so you only really kind of have like one shot at it, and then obviously if you need to find a specific color, googling a specific color is like totally fine, but
Mhm,
it's a matter of finding that specific item based on either what you have or what you can source for next to nothing basically. Like, so I think that's
mhm.
incredibly like I think it's an incredible process to be honest, because it's
It's so cool.
and like even the sort of stuff that you see, like I've seen like your stuff on Instagram, and then obviously you go to like these conventions and all these kind of like things like that, the stuff that people have done, and no, you can never
Crazy.
tell what's been thrifted versus what's
Mhm,
actually been made from scratch. But that's kind of like one of the more amazing parts about it, because it just kind of goes to show the sort of talent that people have, especially when they're thrifting. And as you say, you're not using a machine. You're like
mhm.
totally hand sewing everything together.
Yeah,
And
because I don't know how to
that's
use a sewing machine.
even at that. Like, I think if you're able to just craft something together based off like materials that you already have, and you have to kind of get the sizing right, everything, make it fit, make it look like an item that you've like picked off the shelf in a sense. Fair
Mhm.
play. Like that's I would argue that in some way takes a little bit more talent to do, like having a good eye for it.
Oh, well, thank
Oh,
you.
of course.
I will say, I've as wonderful as hand stitching is, I do get very nervous that I didn't sew it correctly, because 'cause I'm like, "Well, what if it pops? Because I only have 1 thread versus, like, a row." So, I think maybe it just looks better because 'cause I'm so, like, delicate with it, because 'cause I'm like, "It has 1 stitch in it, don't touch it." So, I might I might be give and take, you know?
Yeah. So really, what you're saying is like how it looks on you versus how it feels is a totally different thing.
Yeah, yeah. If you're like, "Oh my gosh, can you strike a pose?" It's gonna be, like, within a tiny little box, and I'll be like,
It's like this.
"That's it. That's as much as we're moving. Because if I move any more, a stitch is gonna pop, and then something's gonna unravel."
uh, but even still, like I think it's just like it's so great to be able, like you say, it must be like such a rewarding thing because you're wearing something, you're at a convention, and like obviously people notice these things, like the ones I've been to
Yeah.
before. People go up to people who are dressed up and look for a photo because it's like, oh, you're dressed as like this is my favorite character
Yes.
from this game, this that and the other, can I get a photo of this that and the other? That's such like an amazing thing. And then like even still, that must kind of reflect then for you personally where you're like, this person likes what I've done, but I've actually done this. Like, oh my god, this is like that must be where the reward comes from, and I think that's incredible.
Oh, yeah. It's, I didn't expect that when I first wore my cosplay out, so my first time wearing Aloy just out completely 100% done was at TwitchCon
Hmm.
in 2024, and people would come up to me and be like, "Oh my gosh, I love you. I love this game. Like, can I take a picture?" And I'm like, "Well, do you want to take a picture with me? Like, I'd much rather you be with me if that's okay. Like, you don't have to just take a picture of me." And some people were like, "Oh," and they said, some cosplayers don't let you take pictures with them. And I was
Oh.
like, "Oh." I was like, "Oh, oh, okay." I was like, "Well, thank you for being, like, so respectful, but I'm so happy to take a picture with you." And they were, like, so excited and so kind, and I was like, "This is crazy." And it would happen, like, I had, like people would see that someone was taking a picture, and then they would come ask, and I'm like, "This is what people feel like. This is what, like this is what, like, famous people must feel like when they're like, 'Oh, of course you can get a picture. Yeah, of course you can get a picture.'" Which, like, to me blew my mind that someone was so like, "Whoa," there's something that I made that it was worthy of someone to maybe get over social anxiety or,
Yeah.
like, their, like, typical cosplayers don't do this type of thought process, and they come up to me and they're like, "Hey, will you take a picture?" And I'm like, "Yes, yes, I would love to because this is really cool, and you're really cool for asking me, so yeah, let's take a picture."
Yeah.
So I'm very excited for this upcoming year because if with the ones that I'm doing, I'm hoping that they're gonna kind of have the same reaction where people are like, "Oh, I love this game, and can I get a picture with you?" And then it's such an easy way to like break ice between content creators because I feel like sometimes we're so anxious to be like, "Hi, I'm also what game you play?
Yeah.
How are you?" It's just awkward to try to, like, network and make friends when there's nothing that, like, brings you together besides just, like, we both stream on Twitch, and that's it. So it's easy to be like, "Oh, I love this game. I played it on my stream." And I'm like, "Great, what other games do you play on stream? What kind of streamer are you? Oh, that's incredible." And it's, like, really easy instead of it just being like, "Hi, random stranger. You play games too? Cool. What are they?" It's just weird. So, like, it's nice to have something to talk about besides Twitch.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, you sort of made a point about like sort of people sort of and social anxiety and stuff with that. Like, you don't know what it takes for people to come up and ask a question like that. So like just to give them that kind
Yeah.
of reception like it's such a huge thing. Like I think on both sides as well, the fact that people come up to you, they want to take a photo at least of the outfit you're wearing, but then that's a big thing for them in some instances, right? To come up and be like, well, this person might you don't know they don't know how receptive people might be, and especially like you say with the usually cosplayers sometimes don't really allow for that. Like, is there much
Yeah.
of like a cosplaying community as such, or like that you are part of, or is this more just something that you do out of like sheer enjoyment because it's something you've always wanted to do, or what's the sort of vibe with that?
Yeah, I think it's becoming more where I wanna get involved with the community. I
Hmm.
recently did a cosplay competition.
Oh wow.
So it was a pop-up, which just means that it's not necessarily like a big expo. It was just, come and show your cosplay.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, okay." And, I had told Nissa, who I've, talked about before, that I was like, "You have to do it with me because I don't wanna do this alone. I
Hmm.
don't understand how it works." And apparently in cosplay competitions, they want you to do, like, a little, like an acting portion in your cosplay. And this one, they literally just asked us questions and said, "Hey, how did you make this? What's your favorite piece of, your cosplay? How many hours, or what did you thrift, or what did you utilize to make this?" It was just really cool. Um, and it was my very first competition ever, and I went as Aloy, and, I got 2nd place,
Oh wow,
which was
congrats.
really incredible.
It's awesome.
And I was like, "Oh, that's amazing." And I had someone come up to me and they go, "I made my very first cosplay out of these drapes that were my mom was getting rid of, and you made this cosplay out of a couch." And he's like, repurposing something and giving it new life. He's like, "That is so important to cosplayers." And I was like, I didn't know that. I just wanted to be this character. And so I think I've started to get more and more into the cosplay community. But there are different levels I've now learned where there's like beginner, intermediate, and I think it's either advanced or master.
Yeah.
And there are people that like truly like to cosplay is their job. And so they will create these gorgeous, intricate, very delicately made cosplays, and it's just incredible what people have been able to do and what previous winners of, like, FanX or other cosplay competitions have done. It's, like, insane. So, I don't know if I'll be that level,
Well, you never know.
but
You never know. I mean,
we'll see.
I have to say, I absolutely love how with your first cosplay competition, you inadvertently embodied the life and soul of cosplaying by repurposing things and giving it new life.
I know. I know. I was
That's
like, "Oh, that's a
incredible.
big deal. Very cool. Yes, this was a couch at one point. Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
I
Great.
totally did that for the love of cosplay and not
Mhm.
because these were
Mhm.
the resources at hand.
Yep. Not because that's what I had, but because I did that on purpose. You are
Yeah,
correct.
absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Mhm.
I have to say, I really do like the concept of that competition that you just mentioned because you mentioned an acting portion of it. I almost feel like that could possibly unfairly put somebody on the spot because
Yeah.
the two things don't necessarily have to go hand in hand. Like you have somebody who
Mhm.
just loves to dress up as their favorite characters. They might even sort of physically look the same as their as these characters. Like I've seen some people cosplay, and I don't know if it's just like the kind of way they like potentially like do their makeup, and I don't know anything about makeup, but I've seen where
It's okay.
like people can, is it like a contour thing that kind of gives like a little bit of definition? Is that what
Yeah,
that
they,
is?
like, make it kinda like how people, with Arcane, how they are
Yes.
trying to, like, really make themselves look, like, defined. Yeah,
Yes.
that's like a contouring thing that they do.
Yeah. Like I've seen things like that, and they've kind of gone from just like A to B, and they look like an entirely different person. Things like
Yes.
that.
Insane.
But the acting portion of it, it doesn't necessarily mean that one you want to or two that you can, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because I like the way that they've done it with yours, where they've asked you about the costume, because I feel like that should be the sort of more important thing, because you're talking about like professional cosplayers. Like, what are the
Mhm.
chances that these people are actually making their own costumes? Or for the most part,
Yeah.
anyway. They probably have. They're probably so bogged down with so many commitments that they have people make these costumes for them, which I don't know
Which
what you think kind of maybe kills the sort of love of it or the idea of it. I don't know,
yeah.
but it seems like a
So
little bit.
the other, like, part of the competition is you have to submit photos and or videos of yourself making the costume,
Oh,
and you have
okay.
to do progress pictures. And then they do, like, an interview portion, I guess, when they're like, "Tell us about this, tell us about this." But then the, like I think another piece of it is just, like, going out and showing how your costume works or your
Yeah.
cosplay works. And so I think it's, like, kind of it is balanced, I would say, in the terms of, like, you do have to have a little bit of, like, showmanship to show how the
Yeah.
cosplay works, especially if you have props. But there is a point of, like, where you're like, "Yeah, like, here's what I did to totally make this. Here's my progress photos. Here's me designing it." Like, I think that they do put more weight into, if I would have to say. But then
Mhm.
again, I don't know because I haven't done a real one yet. But I am doing a real one on the 29th of this month.
Oh, brilliant.
So keep
Very
keep
nice.
keep, you know, keep your fingers crossed for me because I have to do a little acting portion, and I have no idea what I'm gonna do yet for Aloy.
Oh. So then, do you have
So
to have it all
excited.
kind of prepped out beforehand, like your lactin portion? You have to know what you do going into it, yeah.
Yep, I have to get, like, music if I'm gonna do music, or, like, I
Oh,
have to clip from the show or clip from the game so that I can then act it out on stage. And then I also have to submit by the 22nd, I have to submit pictures of me making every piece up close, and then videos if I have them of, like, me doing something to create the cosplay.
wow.
So we'll see how that goes.
So, and have you finished your costume for it yet, or is it still you're still working on it?
Aloy is luckily she is done. Um, there are a couple of things that I would always love to like make better or change
Yeah.
or like redo. And most of them are pretty small things. There's some repairs I have to make too. And that's just like comes with the territory of wearing something that's partially made out of foam and held together by two strings of thread. So yeah. But most of her is completed, which is awesome.
Oh, that's amazing. Like honestly, best of luck for that because like that's
Thank you.
that must feel like a huge step up from what you've done before. And like obviously I imagine the fact that you've entered a competition before, come second in it, and just everything we've talked about as well surrounding it, like the amount of a confidence boost that must give you in terms of doing that, especially considering from where you were before, where you said you didn't have the confidence to do it but always wanted to, and now you're kind of sort of going from strength to strength with it.
It's it's been it's been amazing.
Yeah.
Just in terms of wearing it and having people compliment it, who I look up to and have, like, an inspiration to be like, that has been, like, a big confidence boost. Um, but for it being my first competition, that's, like, a real doing all the steps competition,
Yeah.
I have gone back to my cute little beginner, like, I don't even know if I could do that. So I'm just going to my goal is to just complete it and have nothing break.
Yeah.
That's all I care about, and I'm like, if I can just make it to where nothing breaks or nothing falls off on stage or I don't rip anything, then I have won, and that's all that matters to me.
That's it. Like sometimes even being able to step on the stage and put yourself forward for these things is like more of like a personal victory than actually kind of placing in these sorts
Yes,
of things. And I think it's an incredible
exactly.
thing that you're doing that as well. Like so absolutely
Thank
fair
you.
play. Um so just to put the sort of streaming gaming world aside for a second, this question's another similar to the quickfire ones that we discussed before. It seems to be
Mhm.
one I only really exclusively ask streamers, and I don't know why that is, but here we are. So outside of the streaming gaming world,
Mhm.
what would your hobbies and interests be? And maybe sort of things that like in a sense that your community or any listeners might not know about you as such.
Ooh, ones that they don't know. Because unfortunately, I'm a pretty open book in terms of things that I love and I'm interested in. But I'm an avid gym goer. I love the gym, but I love powerlifting, and that kinda
Oh,
comes from my mom. My mom is a power lifter, she's a triathlete, she's always been exercising, always been healthy, and I just really look up to her, and I because I looked up to her when I was in high school, I was on a swim team,
yeah,
my high school swim team, and I wasn't very fast, even though I loved swimming, and I was like, Mom, I wanna get better, and I don't know how to get better besides, maybe doing this, and this." And my mom goes, "No, no, like, let's take you to the gym, and let's strengthen your muscles that maybe that need more strengthening or need more training." And so she brought me into this private gym with her family friends who are obviously I knew, and, they made me personalized workouts, especially for me and swimming. And so that got me into powerlifting and lifting weights and going to the gym more often because I just loved the feeling of seeing myself going from only picking up 20s to picking up 30s
yeah,
to picking up 45s and that to me was amazing that I was like my body can be strong and having that sense of like power, I guess, but not
yeah,
necessarily like a power in a bad way, a power in a negative, but like power of like my body is strong and I can do things. And that was really cool. And that then transferred into my swimming. And I love to swim. I love anything in water. I'm such a water wart. It's crazy. I just love anything that involves just like the ocean or a lake or a creek or a pool. Seriously, anything always brings me joy. And I don't know if it's just because I feel like there's almost like a fairness to it. Um, when you're underwater, you can't hear if you have your goggles on, then yes, you can see, but, like, you're floating and your senses, you don't really have a sense of touch, or and you just are kind of just in this free floating space, and it just feels like you're just disconnected from, again, the world
Yeah.
and everything that's weighing you down. You're just weightless. And that to me just gave me so much healing when I was in high school and growing up, and whenever boys would break my heart or I was having family issues, just to be in water and feel weightless and feel like right now I don't have to focus on that. I can just be completely free. And that's really has been a thing throughout my life. But other hobbies I'm trying to think of that, besides I love making gourmet cupcakes,
Oh,
which that's kind of like an odd thing I guess I've never told stream. But I love, love, love baking. I love cooking too. I wanted to be a chef for a long time. But I was convinced that it would be a lot of hard work and it's really, really competitive.
yeah.
And I was like, oh, maybe not for me then, because I don't really know if that's kind of the life I want to live. But I love making like gourmet cupcakes. My favorite one to make is like this Reese's peanut butter cupcake, and you take like a duh, like a chocolate base, and then you take out kind of the core, and then you start piping it in the middle, but then you pipe it also on top. But you can make it this peanut butter icing that's like a peanut butter base, and you just add like a little bit of like some powdered sugar, and I kind of remember what the binder is. I don't think it's flour, but like you just add a couple of ingredients to it, and then you make this really, really thick peanut butter
Wow,
frosting, and it's so good.
that's incredible. Like,
So yeah, I guess that's
that's
a unique thing.
of course, yeah. I've never heard them be described as gourmet cupcakes, but like as soon as you described it, I kind of
Yeah,
knew what you meant.
you're like, oh yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah, like that's sort of those sorts of things like popped up around this way, like over
yeah.
the
Hmm.
last few years. Like, although here it was donuts. Donuts were
Oh,
like
I
the
love a donut.
like gourmet donuts, or I suppose they
Love.
call them artisan. I suppose here it's probably
Hmm.
more and more that much the same. But yeah, like have these. Although, I mean, I would honestly say gourmet donuts are more of a scam. Like gourmet cupcakes, actually, there's a lot more that
It's
goes into
true.
them. But
Well, I don't
gourmet
know.
donuts, they just dress up a donut. They get a normal ring donut, dress it up, put a bit of caramel in the middle, maybe like a bit of a chocolate bar, dress it up, and yeah, and you pay like £3.50, something like $6 for it. And it's just like, yeah, it's nice, but like, I mean, it's the
You're like, but
donut. It's just
then
a
that's
dressed up
it.
donut, yeah. But like, obviously, with a cupcake, there's more that goes into it, of course. Like, it's like you have to get the
Eh.
baking process right. You have to like the
I mean,
sponge
I'll
nice. You
I'll
have to get the.
honestly I'll eat anything. Gourmet donut, gourmet cupcake, gourmmet cookie. You give me anything. I have a huge sweet tooth.
I
So
feel that
I'd eat
100%.
whatever.
No, I feel that 100%. But just to go back, you made a very interesting point about the way you were describing being in water. I
Hmm.
have to say, I feel like that's the most immersive description I've ever heard about being in water. And like
Thank
honestly,
you.
that's just I think that's gonna stick with me for a while. I'm not gonna lie because like it's
Oh,
just but it's such a
love.
but it's no but it's such a like it's such a really really interesting sort of way of thinking about it because like and obviously to kind of in a way it almost sticks with the theme of like nostalgia, like we talk about your channel and everything. This was the general theme of everything we've been talking about over the last hour, but
Yeah.
like
Apparently, huh?
yeah, but I mean nostalgia is a powerful thing, of course, but
Mm,
yeah, it's just especially look back to being in water and like there are times when it can remind you of like some of the better times of your life,
mm,
and like you say, when you're like fully immersed in that, it kind of takes you away from like all of like the sort of bad times that you had. And like I genuinely I just feel like there is like a lot to take away just from that alone, because it's like it's something that has been like a real safe space for you, and it's allowed you to turn it into something kind of awesome, like with your swimming, with your powerlifting, gym go, and everything like that. And it's I just find it like such an incredibly interesting thing how just such a simple thing, being in the elements essentially, can really
hmm.
have like such an amazing impact and lead on to just really some life-changing things about us as people. Like I just think it's incredible. But yeah, no, it's gonna stick with me because it was probably the best description of it I think I've ever heard.
Thank you. That's so sweet. You're so
No, of
nice.
course. So I just want to round off with this then, Rissa. So obviously, your channel, your cosplay, and everything in the world of content for you is going strength to strength, and honestly, deservedly so. So when you look to the sort of say short term to semi long term, what's your general plan and your goals for your channel? Like, what does the future look like for you?
I think I want to be like as hopeful as possible, even though, I've come to really start to understand streaming a little bit better now that I've been in it a little bit longer. I start to see trends
Yeah,
kind of like within myself, within others, and I'm like, "Oh," like, and I'm starting to kinda more understand them and put pieces together.
yeah,
Because for a long time, I was like, "Well, I think, being successful in streaming is just luck, and you just get lucky, and some people are lucky and some people aren't, and that's just the way it goes." And I've started to notice that the more that I prep myself for stream and to really be like, "Okay, if I wanna do this today, then great, then I'm gonna prep this, and I'm gonna prep this, and I'm gonna make sure that this happens, and I'm gonna fix this because I wanna make sure that works," and kind of putting a lot more effort and focus into it has really kinda giving me more hope and more excitement,
yeah.
I guess, as well for the future. I would love, love, love to see possibly partner in my future.
Of course.
And not necessarily because I'm like, well, I'm ready for all the glory, but because I would love to do creative consulting for other streamers.
Oh, wow.
Because I love something about when someone goes, "Ah, I just don't know what to do for this game. How do I do this?" And I say, "Well, I think it'd be cool if you did that." Or maybe, "How about have you tried this? Have you heard of this thing?" And they're like, "I haven't heard of that. I want to do that. That sounds great." And I'm like, "Sweet. I love that. I love that you wanna do it," and then it turns out to be successful. Or if they're like, "Oh, I need one more, like, subathon or bidathon at redemption. What do you think?" And I'm like, "Well, you've done this in the past. It'd be cool to, like, kinda tweak it and make it like this." And they're
Yeah,
like, "Oh, that's really, really good because I already have the stuff for it and I can already do that." And I love like, kind of brainstorming with people, finding an idea, and then letting them find success in it and be like, "It totally worked." And I'm like, "It totally worked. That's so cool." And, I found a lot of joy in that, and I would love to say, "Hey, me as Average Girl Games, as just a normal, just kind of weird individual who just really loves video games and loves nostalgia and doesn't do crazy things and is just low maintenance and easy. I made it to partner, and I think that you can too, because I think there's an audience for everyone. And there's
yeah,
so much to go around on Twitch that I would just love to help people feel that same way where there is more to go around and there is opportunity for them and they can find success. And I would love to be a part of that process. And so, but I also don't want to be like, hey, do all these things and do what I tell you to do so that you can get partner when I'm not partner. Because
of
I,
course.
I feel like if I can tell you to do something, like, and I haven't done it myself, that's kind of weird. So that's kind of my hope is to keep growing, even if it's like teeny bit by teeny bit, even if it's at a snail's pace, if I just continue on this little like path that I'm on to just grow. And eventually, if I can reach that partnership, then I think in the future, I would love to do creative consulting for streamers that feel stuck or burnt out or just don't really know kind of what they want to do or and just have general questions. But I don't want it to be where I just tell you what to do and I go, hey, do this.
Yeah,
I
of
want to be
course.
like, let's collab and think about what things do you like and what things do you don't like, and where can we find things that maybe I have experience with and you have experience with, and let's bring them together and make something that helps and supports you. So I think that's kind of one of my goals, which would be really
Yeah.
cool if I could make it.
That's brilliant. Like I love the sort of thought, in-depth process that's gone into that, because I think it's a great thing to kind of give back as well, because as
Yeah.
streamers, we don't really get far without the people watching us and without the people supporting us and everything. So it is like it's nice, and I think it's quite important to give back in that aspect. And I think that's actually incredible, especially with creative consulting, because there is like a very high number of streamers who, I don't want to say give up, but they just stop after a certain amount of time, whether it be a case of they feel it just didn't work out for them or they get bored of it. But there is a degree, I can understand why sometimes, because sometimes people, and I have fallen into this trap myself, sometimes you kind of get, you almost feel pigeonholed into doing the one
Hmm.
thing. I kind of feel that if you start off doing one particular game and that is your niche in that sort of realm, it is very difficult to branch out into variety. Whereas if you start in variety, it's so easy to kind of branch into one game. Like it can
Hmm.
be like a little bit of a double-edged sword, but that I think people generally see that as like the first blocker, but there's that's not I don't even think that covers half of it, if you ask me, because
Hmm.
you have to look at things like people's layouts, how they are as a streamer, their production value, things like that, what they do, how they entice their audience, how they can kind of retain their audience, things like that.
Hmm.
And it's something certainly that I think a lot of people don't necessarily think of. And as I say, like I've fallen into
Yeah.
that trap before, like because there are times where I've wanted to just get my days in of the week, and I'm just like, I'll just throw on
Yep.
this game here because it's safe and this, that, and the other,
Yep.
and it's like a guaranteed 20 viewers in a stream, which is
Hmm.
not necessarily the best way to look at it, because at the end of the day, even though as streamers, we're trying to make something of it, for a lot of people, of course, not necessarily everybody, people just do it for fun, which is totally fine, but you need to enjoy what you're doing as well. I think that's the
Hmm.
kind of like key takeaway of that, because if you're not enjoying it and you're just doing it because people enjoy what you're doing, well, that's like you say, that's where the burnout comes from.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I think I've started to notice that people and viewers will they catch on to things. So like the more that they're in your channel, the more they're going to catch on when maybe your stress levels are high, or your energy is low, or you're quieter than usual. Like
Yeah.
people really catch on to those. And I definitely have had times where I'm like, chat, I'm so sorry. Like I am so locked into this game. I'm just turning my brain off. Like I know that my energy is not where it's supposed to be. I'm sorry about that. And, it's because either I'm playing a game that I'm not really like, "Oh, this is fun," but I'm not really having, like, the most fun with it, or something happened at work where I'm, like, still mulling over and thinking about because it bothered me, um, or just, like, general feelings of being like, "Am I doing the right thing? Am I
Yeah.
supposed to, like what am I doing wrong? Why can't I do XYZ?" Or, "Why can't I be like this person?" And that's never to be like, I want what that person has, but to be like, this person is so good at this. How come I can't do that?
Yeah, of course.
And kind of looking inward and figuring out what I can do and making that a strength. And sometimes that's hard because sometimes you're like, what is unique about me? And then you really think about it and you're like, well, then maybe there's nothing. And then you get stuck in this vortex. But definitely some like people will catch on and know when your energy is low and they'll start, you know, kinda either tuning out,
Yeah.
or they'll be like, maybe not today." And that's also hard because then you get burnout more because your numbers drop and you're like, "Oh, that's not what I wanted, like, I shouldn't have just not streamed," and then it just becomes a spiral, and it definitely yeah, there's definitely, again, like all like you said, double-edged swords with everything. Um, but I think the goal is just to figure out what makes you happy, and that's the end all.
Yeah.
Like, are you happy playing this game? If not, change. And yes, your numbers might fluctuate, but you are happier and more people are going to come in and go, "Oh my gosh, like, we're having so much fun today. We're laughing hysterically. Everyone's making jokes. Everyone's talking. Like, we're having good conversations. This is great. Um, and that overall, I think, despite maybe your numbers fluctuating, will still make you feel better that you performed the way that you wanted to.
Absolutely.
Um, so
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I 100% agree. And like I can genuinely speak from firsthand experience where I've changed up the game that I've been playing. Excuse
Mhm.
me. And I have had more fun despite the fact I've had half the viewers because people just didn't care about it, right?
Yeah.
Not everyone's going to care about it, but you can't really make everybody happy. You just have to, like, ultimately, it's like you say, people do catch on to these things. So, like, naturally, you have to kind of be happy in what you're doing, make yourself happy, and then that way people will see that and they will want to be around you a lot more as a streamer. And like I changed up a few things, and even like I've had like a mod say to me, it's just like that game's not my thing, but I'm still there anyway because
Yeah.
I saw how much you were enjoying it, and that was kind of like a nice thing to do. And I'm like, I appreciate the honesty because that's why it's kind of a thing. It's like every time I speak to a streamer about this sort of thing, it's like your viewers will like more often than not stay for you, less so the game that you're playing.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
that's sort of like definitely something that I think is important to remember because that's where it all comes back to. It's not necessarily the game you're playing; it's how
Hmm.
you are and who you are when you are behind the camera appropriately. But yeah,
No, that's so true. And like, you really will have people that are just core fans that just go, I don't love scary games because I don't play them usually, but once in a while I do. Then I have someone who's like, I don't love scary games, but I love watching you play whatever you want to
yeah,
play. And I'm like, that to know that like that is someone that still hangs out in my channel or just wants to hang out with me, like that is worth streaming to like one person.
100%.
And if that one person's that one that's like, "I just wanna watch you play whatever you wanna play," and I'm like, "That's cool. That's so nice. Well, I'm streaming just to you tonight." And that's great.
Exactly, exactly. As long as you enjoy it, and that is like the most
Mhm.
important thing. Rissa, it has been incredible having you on behind the camera. Thank you so much for taking the time. Um, if you would like to tell the listeners today, where can we find you?
Yes, so I currently, am on TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube, and it's all under the same name, Average Girl Games, no spaces. I'm also currently working on a project to make, Average Girl films.
Oh,
Which will be where we'll do the Phasmophobia and maybe the Uncharted films, just so that that's separate enough and easy to find versus looking through a whole bunch of stream clips and things like that. But I would love if, anyone who is listening would want to come say hello. We will welcome you with open arms. We are very low maintenance. And it's just an easy place to hang.
yeah, brilliant, absolutely, and definitely do drop Rissa a follow here on all of her platforms. Incredible creator, incredible streamer, and as you have got to know over the last hour or so, an incredible person all round. So
Oh,
once
thank
again,
you.
Rissa, thank you so much for taking the time. It has been incredible.
Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. And there you have it. That was my conversation with Average Girl Games. I think one of my favorite things about this episode was you could really see Rissa's creativity and ambition shine through as not only a creator, but a person as well. This is someone who has taken so incredibly well to streaming and built something absolutely amazing out of it. And I genuinely believe that she has a very bright future ahead of her, and I wish her all the best. As always, this has been Behind the Camera with Andy Games. I have been your host, Andy Games. If you enjoyed what you heard today, any and all likes, comments, subscriptions, follows, and reviews are all hugely appreciated and do go a long, long way. We will be back soon with another installment of Behind the Camera with Andy Games, but until then, peace.